Okie dokie. I have this huge list. I did add another thing that I might show from my minimap. My minimap interface has all these little sprite fields, and each of these is basically just checking the current parallax sprites of the map that the player's on. And then there are these two layers here, the object display and the atmosphere display, which when you're in the game, it's part of the object selection system. I kind of want to show you guys how to set up stuff like this. Whenever you click on an object, you see it pop up in this top corner, and they all have kind of a uniform size. And then when you click on these, you see also this atmosphere layer. If I turbo my way over to the sun here, there's my cool little black hole. The sun, there's two things going on here. The frame itself that's selecting it is being resized to the size of the body sprite, because you can see the little jets here, they kind of extend out past the edge and they go way out here on part of the animation, and that has to fit inside this window too. So it actually has to retrieve the body sprite and this glow layer and still be able to fit within the frame here. So every time you click on one of these objects, this is a space object actor template. All of these have these triggers in here, and when you click on them, this looks messy right now because it is a bit messy. I still have to clean up things. I'm not actually using this anymore. Get rid of that.
Got one for you. Good night, man.
Let's see. I can actually squeeze these in here now because they're not part of my testing. I tend to keep things that I'm testing off to the side. So whenever you click on one of these objects, it resizes the selection frame to the body sprite, which you can see here, currently selected, the actor that's currently selected, and it's going to resize it to the body. And then it's also doing something, actually this isn't the spot where I've got it. Over in the minimap, I've got these two layers here, and they're retrieving their sprite and color from the currently selected actor's body sprite. So this will turn into the body sprite. The atmosphere layer is going to grab the accessory layer, which that's technically I haven't renamed anything, so I'm using the accessories layer for my atmospheres, which you can sort of see whenever you're building a sprite. You have the option to, maybe go into my space objects here, you have the option to set the category or the area, and these are, so far they're considered accessories. I'm probably going to change the names so they're not accessories, they're going to be atmospheres, but these are a layer that the planets can equip, essentially. It's basically a piece of gear. In 001 internal language, it's basically a piece of gear that the planets can equip, but in my case it's just a glowy halo layer for planets, so the planets can wear these little atmospheres, but I need them to also display in the minimap. So if you want to display, you know, your actors or characters graphics and stuff in an interface, you can do it using the same method. You're going to retrieve the sprite of the layer that it's the area of equipment, not area of equipment. I have to actually pull it up here. When you type in body, you can see body clothing color, and this is where you choose the clothing. I don't remember what these are called. It's not areas of equipment, but they're clothing types. So you've got, you know, your body, your accessory, your head, your, I guess you could have pants, shirts, whatever. I'm just using accessory as the atmosphere layer. So whatever layer or whatever sprite you want to retrieve, you'll just use your actor's name. Sometimes this is main if you want to retrieve the player graphic. You just use main. But I store mine in a variable called currently selected. That's basically whatever actor you've clicked on gets its ID stored in this variable, so that I can retrieve the currently selected actor and do all kinds of stuff. So I just want to retrieve the accessory layer. But the problem is all of the planets are different sizes, but they all have to fit within this specific little square here. So they're all, planets are, I think I've got those set to 256 by 256, and then suns are 512 by 512. I still have to fix black hole displays because they're incorrect, but I can show you how I would set this up. So normally when you click on any of the objects on the map, you can see that their atmosphere layers or their the body sprite for the planets are displayed within that square. Let me jump back in here. Clicking here, the planet fits within, oh yeah, I've got stuff in the way. Fits within this little square here, and the atmosphere layer extends past it, but it still has to fit within the boundary so it doesn't go off the screen. Same thing for the sun and the black hole, so oops, I wanted to exit that. In the atmosphere display layer, or if you're making a static sprite field like this, I've got the retrieve width and retrieve height set. You don't have to use the retrieve fields here unless you want to. You can actually use a resize field event somewhere and just resize it yourself, but I like to use these. They're fun. And all this is doing is it's set up to check actor templates, and right now I'm not sure why. I feel like it should kind of check like all the children. If I've run into this issue, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but when you're checking something's actor template, right now I've got star as the parent, and then yellow star, blue star, red star as children of star, the star template. And these should all be considered stars. So if I were to check an actor that's a red star, it doesn't tell me that it's a star. It tells me that it's a red star, or that its template is a red star. Well, I'd like it to tell me that it's a star, so I don't know why. If you check for parents, it doesn't actually retrieve if it's using a different template, which, I don't know. It's kind of weird. So this event, it basically just checks the actor and tells you what template it is. And if it is, take this path. If it's not, take this other path over here. So since I can't just click on star to have it check all of my different star types, I have to highlight all of them. And you can highlight multiple by clicking and dragging, or no, you can click and drag in some of these, I believe, but if you hold down Control, you can just click on all of the ones that you want to highlight. And if it's a star, since stars are 512 by 512, they're much bigger, I actually need to resize their accessory layer. So, or resize the field that I'm going to display the accessory layer with. So I want to check the sprite size. That's the outer parentheses here, sprite, and that's .sizeX. I want to check the size, the width of the currently selected actor's accessory layer. So it'll get me that size and then multiply it by 0.25. That's 1/4. I believe it'll downsize it. And then if it's not a star, it'll check to see if it's one of the planet templates, which in this case, where are they? Why aren't they highlighted? Should be a whole bunch of ones highlighted, but whatever. There we go. Just had to refresh. Those, I'm just having them shrink by 0.53. That's not really It could probably be smaller. I think I could do 5.2 or 5.1, but that's the size that I'm going to use right now. And then I have to do something different for black holes. I actually have to set up the object display to resize, and I'll show you why. And then over here in the retrieve color, it's just retrieving the color of the accessory layer, and that's actor.getColor. And then you would put the layer that you want, or the accessory type, or the item type, and the little number at the end is the layer. So if you have 8 colors on an object, you can change that to any of the 1 through 8 colors and retrieve its color from whatever the actor's wearing. So I do the same thing in the height field, only I use the size Y value instead of the size X to resize it. And I have to fix and actually figure out what size I want to make black holes. I think there's 3 different sizes that I'm using right now for planets, and it's 512, 256, and 128. There's gonna be moons. I think moons are 64, which are smaller, and then the black holes are 128 by 128. So these planets are 256 by 256 pixels, and their accessory layer gets resized when it's displayed over here. If it doesn't have an accessory layer, like space stations won't have atmospheres, it doesn't actually show up at all. And then you'll see when I click on the black hole here that its accessory layer is resizing correctly, but the object layer is still way too big. So I have to make that shrink down. And so I'm going to come in here. I actually want to copy rather than start from scratch, but I'm going to copy paste my actor template stuff here. And normally in this case I don't want to resize it so that it's bigger at any point, so I have a default size of 128 by 128, and so the visibility, I want to go into my width, retrieve, and choose this one up at the top. If you're ever working with these, you click on the little square and choose script to create a script inside of it. And I'm going to paste this in here. I'll say if it's a star or a planet or anything, we want it to return 128, our default size. So I'm going to actually comment that in there. Default size 128, 128. And I want this to be just about everything. If it's copper, frozen, rocky, terrestrial, volcanic, space station, space object. I wish if I could click on space object, it would pretty much choose every single thing, including the black hole. So I might not. But I'm not sure why it doesn't like pass on. If I choose space object, I'm never going to use the parent on a map. I always use one of these sub actor templates. So I'll just select all of these sub templates. Make sure I've got those all. And then just connect them all here. This last one is if it's not any of those. This one I just want it to be black hole. Ba-ba-ba. I'll just connect the right side there. So I want it to actually resize this by the body, which is the size of the black hole center, not the atmosphere swirly layer that I've got going on. I want to shrink it down. I'll say 50%. I might actually have to make it smaller, but we'll see. So this is what I want. I'm going to copy that into the retrieve height script and just change this size X to size Y. Okay, so the regular ones still work. I want to check the black hole. Now, that might be a bit too big, because it's probably resizing it to about the same size that it is already. So I'll go to the retrieve width here. I'm going to change this value to 25 just to see if it shrinks it. I just want it to make it smaller than the accessory layer behind it. Oops, I hate when I do that. Loading, 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 loading. Alright. My atmosphere layer is gone because I don't know why. What did I do to my atmosphere layer? Huh. Very weird. Not quite sure what I just did. Part of the joys of making games is something always breaks somewhere. Right when things are starting to work, you break stuff. So I don't know where my atmosphere layer is right now. It's not loading at all. It's not shrinking the size of the field that I want it to. Now it's loading the atmosphere layer. Interesting. I'm not sure what I just did. Oh yeah, I shrunk the wrong deal. Oops. Okay, so I just wanted to shrink the body sprite. And then if it's a black hole, I don't want it to be 50, I want it to be 25. I don't know how I did that. That's dumb. Don't be like me. Get it right the first time. I've probably watched this screen 1,000 times, and I'm sure you guys are getting sick of it. And I promise it'll start getting different eventually. So my layer is back. Everything's working. Let's check the black hole. That didn't actually work. So it should be shrinking it to 50% of this thing's size, which I'm uncertain why it's not doing that. I even think I set it to be 25%, so let's make it so. Copy that, and I'll just have it return 64, so it'll shrink it down to 64. Copy, paste. Just to see, it should actually resize it based on half the size of the body sprite, or quarter size of the body sprite, but I'm not always right about everything. I don't know all the stuff that I'm doing. Half the time I'm kind of winging it, but I'm always learning as I go. So I don't know why that's not resizing it, because I've told it to actually specifically resize it. At this point, let me actually check the size of the object display, which is telling me it's 128 by 128. So I don't want it to do that. Height and width should be let's just set it so if it's a black hole, we'll kill that. If it's a black hole, make it 64. If it's not, make it 128. Doot, 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 and doot. If it's a black hole, set it to 64. Now, just to make sure all my click stuff is getting passed through my templates, and the only way to edit those is to go into the very top, the parent. So let me make sure it's updating the minimap overlay twice, which is what I need it to do. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to manually resize it somehow. Alright. Zoom, zoom. It looks like it's still not resizing my object display. Not sure why it's doing that to me. It should not be doing that. So I'll jump in here. I'm just going to go and grab that out of my retrieve. I don't think I have anything else resizing this, but just to make sure, I'm going to dig just a little bit. Selection frame, no, no, no. Okay, so I don't think I've got anything resizing that field manually, which can't quite figure out why it's not. It should actually be resizing to 64, but since it's not, I'm going to go into my object display. This is just another version of the same thing. I'm just going to grab all of this, cut it out of there, highlight all that, delete it because I don't need it. I know that it's working because all the other scripts in the retrieve fields are working. I just don't know why it's not resizing. So I'm going to do it manually this way. Go into space object where I've got my triggers for all of these, and when you click, I'm going to paste this in here, and that's going to check to see if it's a black hole or not. I do have an idea why that's not working right. Just to make sure, I think I did this right. Because it's considered a star technically, but it's still a black hole template. And now that it's on the map as a template, I'm just going to continue with this one. Whenever you click on it, Is it a black hole? If it is, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to resize a field on my minimap interface, which is way down here. I want to resize my object display so that it's 64 by 64. Oh, dang it. No delay. I'll just copy that, paste it, and when it's not a black hole, it'll be 128 by 128. I'm going to have other actors with different sizes I'm going to have to figure out instead, and there will be more conditions. But for now, I'm just going to take that, scooch these up. Just want to make sure I put it in the best spot, and since I'm testing, I'm going to leave it out to the side over here so I can see where I put it. Alright, everything there is correct. No errors. I like how it's showing up as planet right now. And it's not resizing my... Huh. Interesting. Well, it shouldn't be doing that. Stumping myself here, as usual. I'm sure it's not super fun watching me just get frustrated, but let's take this out of here, scooch it all the way to the very bottom. Sometimes order actually does matter. And if not, I'll have to do another resize. And for some reason it's resizing the accessory field, which it shouldn't be. Or the atmosphere layer. So I can click on this a million times, nothing happens, because it's not a black hole. But when I click on the black hole, it's, there we go, it's actually working the first time now because I changed the order. But my accessory layer is getting super shrunk now for some reason. So back into here, my atmosphere layer should be retrieving the width of the yeah. Why? Let's just add that there. Control click to add another one to the list. The basic principle is just retrieving those. Oh no, what? Oh, whoops. I did something wrong there. Since I added another template, I have to readjust my script. I always forget that sometimes. There we go. When you add another branch to those, it'll add another path that the script can take. So now that won't error, that won't error. Oh, why? Why must you do this to me when you were working so well? Okay, so my atmosphere layer is retrieving the accessory layer correctly. It is retrieving the accessory size correctly. I actually think I might need another condition just for the black holes. So I'll change this one to just black hole and drag this one over here. If it's not a planet or a star, it'll check to see if it's a black hole. I'm going to start with something like 45. And if it's not any of them, we'll just default to the planet size. If you leave any of these paths without connecting it to a return value, you'll get this little like nag screen from 001 just letting you know that if it ever takes that path, you'll get an error in the game. So I want to do the same thing over here, connect that here, check if it's a black hole. There are multiple ways to do this. You can use the retrieve fields, or you can manually resize everything using resize field events. So I'm kind of doing it both ways at the moment, and that didn't work either because who knows why. So rather than 45, let's just try something like removing that. I want to see if it actually pulls the full size of the sprite if I remove the divisor or the multiplier. If not, something else is shrinking my field, which it shouldn't be. Turbo! Something else is shrinking my field. I didn't tell it to. So I'm not sure why that's not working. Because it's definitely a black hole. What I can do is go into my, oops, no, do not save that. Go into my space objects, my base actor. Whenever you click on something, I'm just going to add a log message at the end. This is super useful if you haven't seen it or used it yet. Display log text will just print something in the bottom of the screen. I just want it to print out the template, the current actor template. of the one that I've got selected, which is currently selected. So whenever I click on any of these objects, it'll tell me what the object template is, so I know for sure that it's checking correctly. Hooray, bug hunting. Just tell me it's a Rocky. That one's a station. And it should tell me that this is a black hole. Black hole. So why is my atmosphere layer getting shrunk like that? Does my sun still work? Yes, my sun still works. But my black hole is doing something funky. So, I want to even see if it's... You might not have caught what I just did. If you don't know about breaking a debugger, on here, this little check mark will make sure the debugger pops up once the script hits this node. This will let me know that the script is actually hitting this node at some point, which it should. It should hit that if I click on a black hole. Rocky Station. And it's not. Even though I'm getting the correct template here. Oh, I still have black hole up here, that's why. I'm so dumb. Okay, let's turn that off. Come back in here. Take black hole out of there. Connect that to that branch. It's always something silly like that. I accidentally had black hole in there and it was checking and doing the resize that it's supposed to do for stars. So now, when I click on a black hole, if I did that correctly, the atmosphere layer will be huge and way out of the bounds it should be. Turbo. And it's not because I don't know. Come back in here, make sure I don't have anything stupid going on. So it's resizing the object display correctly. Get out of here. Huh. Well, now I gotta check that one more time. Break into debugger. All I want to do is check to see if it's a black hole at the very end. If it's not a star, just in case, I'm going to take this out of here. So it's only checking for gaseous, and that's why I didn't even connect it up, because I'm... Oh no, I just took out one. Never mind. Okay, so rain farts in every direction. Take that out of there just in case. Connect that up. Okay, so it's neither of those are black holes, and the debugger will not pop up. There we go. Okay, so now it's working. It's retrieving correctly. going to the end, and now I see I have a really huge, oops, yeah. Okay, so go back in there and take out the break into debugger. Interesting. It was checking that it was a star. Even though I can't ever get that to work right, checking the template of the black hole tells me that it's a black hole, not a star, which is its parent template. I don't know. That's a weird little quirk of 001. So now we have this huge atmosphere layer. That's not what I want either. I'm going to go back in here to my retrieve width and height and add my little multiplier one more time. 0.45 is what I'm going to try. I just want it to be within the bounds of the minimap frame here. Doodly 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 doodly. There we go. Good, 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 good. And since I didn't change the X value, just make sure everything resizes. Now, go back in here and do the same thing. Y times 45, everything is correct. Just to make everything uniform, I'm going to copy what's in the X, or in the width. I'm going to delete everything that's in the height, paste the same script in here, and I want to actually change these to Y's. Good, good, good. Oh my god. So weighty and floaty sometimes. There we go. Now the accessory layer, atmosphere layer, is inside my minimap frame here. I've got the body layer in the center. Wow, sorry that took so long to get through. It shouldn't have taken that long. I might even be able to increase the size of the atmosphere layer just a little bit. But I think this is about the size that I'm going to go with for moons. 64. Moons probably won't have atmospheres, but they'll be smaller than planets. And everything is hunky-dunky dory. Now I can go back into here. I think I know what to do. Where I've got it resizing in here, I'm just going to reconnect these, pull this back. Just in case, I think I'll leave a copy of that in there. Bloop. As my scripts start to look a bit messy, I'm sure all of you guys using 001 notice the same thing sometimes. I want it to be in my retrieve fields here. So retrieve width. Check to see if it's a black hole, and if it's not, I'll return 128 and return 64. I'm still not sure why it wasn't working earlier. I want that script to be in that field so I don't have to mess with my actor templates resizing fields all over the place. unless necessary. And fly over to the black hole. And it's working now for some reason. Who knows why? Who knows why? Who cares why it works? The sun layer works. Sun's atmosphere fills up this whole box. Alright, that's if you want to display the graphics your actor is using, the different layers that your actor is using on a map. Or on an interface, not a map. Blah, blah, blah. Pardon me. There's a whole bunch more to my to-do list. Some of the things I don't want to do tonight. Some of the things I don't even think I have to do for a while. Like adding ship templates isn't going to come until I've fixed a whole bunch of different issues. So let's see. I do need to add save menus and stuff, but I might save some of that for next time. Building an entire interface in a video that is already approaching 45-50 minutes long. I don't know if I want to start doing that this late, but basically for displaying things on menus, that's all there is to it. Setting up your retrieve sprites correctly. And the way my backgrounds are retrieving the sprite that's stored in the background of the map's parallax. These layers are they're retrieving the sprite layers of the actor, the accessory layer and the body layer. And you could make an entire interface displaying the pieces of gear from your characters and all that if you wanted to. And that's something I feel like I'm gonna work on later with like equipment menus and stuff. There's some older ones from the old prototype that I will get into and show you guys while I'm copying everything over. But that might be it for this video. How to retrieve the graphic layers and how to display them on a screen. Dynamically resizing the fields with the retrieve height and width. And pretty much that's all I've got in me tonight, I think. Go to screamingbrainstudios.com for your fix of all kinds of free public domain stuff. A lot of free tile sets, graphics. There's pieces for making board games, chess pieces. There's grids for building isometric maps. There's dominoes. There are animated flags of the world, all kinds of stuff. I've got a bunch of old school tutorials and a whole bunch of free tools that you can download and grab for making graphics for video games. But that's probably all for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if there's anything you guys want to see in the comments. I could probably jump on tomorrow night, same time. Not sure what I'll be covering, but I'll have something for you guys then. Until next time.